Alrighty boysies, how's it going? How's it going this fine day? So welcome to you live from the Dusty Old Man Home Video Store. And I decided, my Mortal Kombat speedruns have been doing alright. I thought I'd do a wee rating. I thought I'd rate every single Mortal Kombat game. Now, this is a series that's quite a lengthy series, but it's a rarity that I've actually played every single one here. Now, I've not finished every single one and I've not played them equally, so there's going to be quite a lot explained to do here. But I thought we'd get started, so we're going to go over the ratings. We have started with the top with Grand Champion. We have Toasty. I was running out of Mortal Kombat puns. Toasty, we'll just say that's good. It's fine. Kinda stinky and worse than Hus Hao, who I think is probably the most hated Mortal Kombat character, especially by the creators. Basically, he's like they put him in Deadly Alliance and now he's like a living joke. But anyway, let's dive right in with the very first Mortal Kombat. Now, I played this on the Amiga and yeah, it probably wasn't the best way to play it, and then I started playing it again when I got Midway Arcade Treasures, and I've got a lot of fun memories of Mortal Kombat. However, when you go back and play it, it's got like 6 playable characters, I want to say. I might be wrong about that. So it's not the biggest game. It's very much an arcade quarter muncher with Goro being ridiculously overpowered, and it's fine. It's got the depth of a wet puddle though, so right now, but do I put it in that it's fine, or do I put it in kind of stinky? So it's either bottom of fine. It's a game that has got a lot of historical significance because, it's a game that basically made the age rating system in video games. It kicked off one of the biggest fighting game franchises, but as a game itself, it also popularised, fatalities and digitised graphics in fighting games, because you'll see the thousands of Mortal Kombat clones that came afterwards, like Way of the Warrior, Pit Fighter, shit like that, Time Killers. But we'll get into it as we go. So, Mortal Kombat 1, we'll start off with it's fine. It might move up, might move down. Next up, we have Mortal Kombat 2, which, in my opinion, is one of the best sequels in fighting games, because it just improves on literally everything in the game. The game's got a much more rounded roster, a much more interesting roster. That's the first one. I think like you had Reptile. Well, obviously Reptile was in the first one, but you could play this. You could have Reptile, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. You had a lot more. Like Jax was introduced, Shang Tsung was introduced as a playable character, and I Mortal Kombat 2 is really good. I played this a wee bit on the Super Nintendo. Was it Super Nintendo? I think it was, yeah. But I got really into it when I got Midway Arcade Treasures, specifically Midway Arcade Treasures 2, and actually finished this game. So in Mortal Kombat 2, I'd put in the Toasty tier. It's not quite my favourite of the original run. Next up, we have Mortal Kombat 3. Now, Mortal Kombat 3 done something that I'll always give Mortal Kombat credit for. They're always eager, or they will always attempt to do like a next generation. They'll do a game that has hardly any original characters, and they'll do a one with a lot of original characters, And Mortal Kombat 3 tried to be that. In fact, this is where I might be wrong, but I think Jade appears in this one the first time, and Jade's my main in like every Mortal Kombat. I know she first appears in 2, but I don't think she's playable in 2. But Mortal Kombat 3 was a bit of a letdown with the roster. The fighting was getting a bit better, but just from 2, I think it was a little bit letdown. It had a lot more, like, it had brutalities, it had that code system, which was super in depth, and holy shit, if anyone ever figured that out, you're a fucking genius. Mortal Kombat 3, but I didn't have as much time. I played Mortal Kombat 2, and I jumped straight to Trilogy for me. But Mortal Kombat 3 is probably, it's fine. It's not the best version, because right up that we had the enhanced port, which was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Now, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 fixed a lot of the issues that Mortal Kombat 3 had. It added in a bit, it fleshed the roster out a bit more. It just added a lot more. It was a lot faster paced. They just made it a much better game overall. Now, Toasty or top of it's fine. I don't know. Actually, I think it's going to get quite a top-heavy list, so I'm going to put it in it's fine. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, now this could travel up, this could travel down. I played this one a bit more because this got released in Xbox Live Arcade, and I think this was the version that got ported a lot in things like Mortal Kombat DS. I might be wrong about that. And yeah, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is a much better version of Mortal Kombat 3, is what I was saying. Next up, right, this one I'm confused with, because I think this means, so we've got Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Now I'm going to lump them in as one, because there's Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and then there's the PS1 version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which I've heard is very, very different. I can't tell the difference. I know the Nintendo 64 is seen as the better version, so I'm going to lump them in as one, because I've only had a significant time with the PS1 version. The PS1 version was my... So if I played Mortal Kombat 1 and played a little bit of Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat Trilogy is my real start with the series. I fucking adored Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Oh, top of toasty, I'd say. It was a massive roster. Still used the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 engine. Had weird characters like the Mortal Kombat 1 version of characters, which I always thought was a really fun and interesting twist. They were not good in the slightest, but it was cool that you had them there. You could play the bosses. The roster was absolutely wild, and for the time, like, you just didn't have fighting games that had rosters that size, you know? You had your, like, Street Fighter Alpha 3 and shit like that, but this was, like, the first time I remember it being, like, you know, like a Smash Ultimate, everybody is here, including Chameleon and shit like that, and the amount of fatalities, the amount of brutalities, the amount of just other shit that was in that game was insane. Mortal Kombat has always had, apart from maybe one, has always had a massive thing with giving you your money's worth. It's always had a crazy amount of content in it, and Mortal Kombat Trilogy is, again, competitively, I think maybe Ultimate is a better competitive fighter, but your old dad here isn't one for competitive Mortal Kombat, which, if you want, there's a really good channel called PK&M, who do a lot of in-depth talking about, you know, competitive Mortal Kombat, who I listen to a lot. But yeah, for right now, just for the sheer money's worth, and I'll be honest, boys, a lot of time I just done tournament mode and just sat and watched the Fatality compilation. It was so fucking cool. Anyway, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, I think the Nintendo 64 version is meant to be better, so I'll put that slightly higher. But right now, this is how it's looking. Next up, we have Mortal Kombat, oh, the first spin-off. So, Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero is it plays really strangely. I remember I got this when I first started getting the PS1 emulator sorted, because this game's actually very expensive, and it's very, very, very strange. It plays like Mortal Kombat, you know, like the sort of 2D fighters, but it's a platformer, it's also a beat 'em up. It's so fucking weird. It's weirdly solid, like really, really, really hard, with some stuff you would never figure out without the aid of a guide. There's a fight with Fujin that the only way you survive a fight is by running to the other side of the stage and ducking down, and then Sub-Zero holds on to something. Now, the FMVs in this are fucking great. I love the FMVs, but I don't know if that can keep it out of the bottom tier. Actually, no, that's a lie. The FMVs can, because they're that entertainingly shit that they're in kind of stinky tier. Then next up, oh, I've messed up with the thing, because we have the other Mortal Kombat spin-off that came out around this time on the PS1. We have Mortal Kombat Special Forces, which is just... See, if I said Sub-Zero has some interesting stuff and has things like the FMVs, Special Forces has none of this. This is a boring, shite beat-em-up with combat. It's not very interesting. I think it's only got Jax in it. Like, it was meant to have Sonya, but she was cut for time reasons. And yeah, you're just fighting through generic areas, fighting generic enemies, doing generic things. The only thing that makes it Mortal Kombat is the fact that Jax is there, but I have no qualms saying this is the worst Mortal Kombat. So, we're starting to fill out a little bit here. Next up we have Mortal Kombat 4. Now let me tell you something, boys. I didn't play Mortal Kombat 4 for years, but I went back and decided, when I was a wee bit older, well, I say a wee bit older, I was in my teenage years, this is before Mortal Kombat 11 came out, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to play through all the Mortal Kombat games, because I absolutely love the series, and I think 4 is my least favourite. 4 is just, the roster's interesting, it's got some interesting characters like Rikyo, I think his name is, but then there's like Jarek and all that who are just not interesting. The special moves are very bland, everyone feels very similar, and it's just not very fun or interesting. There were some ideas in there that worked, that went on to work, things like in, you know, like the weapon styles and shit like that. But honestly, Mortal Kombat 4, I'm gonna put it in the worst totality tier. And then Mortal Kombat Gold, which was the updated version of it, you know, like the ultimate version of it. I'm gonna put that just in kind of stinky. Now, I'm so sorry, but I'm putting it above Sub-Zero because I can't admit that it's a better game than Sub-Zero. So I can't put it any lower than that, but it's just not got it, if you know what I mean. There's something about Mortal Kombat and it just doesn't have it. Right, now we're moving up onto the, probably in my opinion, the first big reboot of the series. This kit was fresh onto PS2 and I fucking loved Deadly Alliance. I loved it as a kid. Now, looking back, is it as good as the rest of the 3D era? Probably not, but going by, like, I remember sitting, learning all the fatalities, doing the conquest mode, which was kind of like a series of challenges. gonna put it in the it's fine tier. Now I like the story. I'll put it just below Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I like the story, how you know you kill off that and you kill off you know Liu Kang, Shao Kahn, and you've got a really interesting sort of thing there with the bad guys being Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, and then you have a lot of new generation characters added in. Some of them are not so big like Hus Hao, but I like ones like Natara, Frost. I think Draman, is that his name? The big meat guy with the club. I liked him. So not every character they introduced in the 3D era was a hit, but not all of them were shite either. So Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance is in the fine tier. Then had a surprisingly really good port for the Game Boy called Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. Now, if you go and play this, my god, it's a bit rough. But they hadn't managed to get the combat from Deadly Alliance and port that down to actually work on a Game Boy Advance. And they didn't really cut a lot. They had some characters they cut out, but they actually had two versions of this game. I think it was Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition and I think Mortal Kombat Advance. But they're interesting that they're on the Game Boy Advance. If you get what I mean, it's a not bad port, but as a fighting game itself, it's in the kind of stinky. It's more impressive for what it is than a good game. But there's like, if you had a Game Boy and you were looking for Mortal Kombat, actually there's probably Mortal Kombat ports to the Game Boy. Like I think, it might be wrong here, but there was definitely Mortal Kombat 2 in the Game Boy Color. But I don't know if that was shit. There was Mortal Kombat in the game.com, which was dreadful, I think. But anyway. Kind of stinky, I think, for Tournament Edition. Still really cool that it exists. Right, and then, right boys, here we go. They followed up Deadly Alliance with, in my opinion, one of the greatest, how do I say it, the greatest packages overall in fighting games, because we had Mortal Kombat Deception, which, boys, Mortal Kombat Deception has so much fucking content in it. Now, the fighting is pretty good. It's probably the best the 3D era gets. It's probably got one of my favourite rosters, especially Mortal Kombat Unchained, when it adds in like Shao Kahn, Katana, Goro. Unchained was the PSP version, which I think is the definitive way to play Mortal Kombat Deception. But you had Puzzle Combat, which was like a puzzle fighter type thing, very fun with pals. Chess Combat, also very fun. It had a Conquest mode, which was you got to explore all these realms and meet all these Mortal Kombat characters, and had so much fan service and so much fucking cool lore about it. And it's probably one of my favourite modes in any Mortal Kombat game. The only thing is, my god, as you'll see from my speedruns, I had a fucking awful time with Dragon King, because the Dragon King is one of the, in my opinion, the hardest fighting game bosses. Up there with your Rugals and your fucking Azazels from Tekken 6, sorry, excuse me. But Mortal Kombat Deception, Grand Champion tier. I fucking love Mortal Kombat Deception, just as an overall package, having an immense roster, having that much content in it, with a crypt as well and all the shit to unlock. It's unreal. It is absolutely insane that they managed to get that much in on a disc. And fuck me, like, remember what I said about, like, I'm not a big fan of like for example, that's why Tekken does so well with me, because Tekken always has a lot of single player content, a lot of stuff that's, because most fighting games will just give you an online mode, practice, and a random arcade run, you know. So that's all you'll have, because they'll just go, right there, that's all you need for a fighting game. But Mortal Kombat Deception and Tekken as well, they're ones that do really well casual audiences, because they've got so much single player shit, and Deception is the best version of that. Right, now we have another spin-off, but this one's better this time. Shaolin Monks. It's like a 3D beat 'em up and is super fun, but fuck me, it's fucking solid. Well, the final boss is unreally hard, like unfairly hard, I'd say, but the rest of the game is really fun. It retells the end of Mortal Kombat 1 into Mortal Kombat 2, and fuck me, it's a really fun time, especially if you're playing it with a friend. So I'd put that in the Toasty tier, probably top of Toasty. I really enjoy Shaolin Monks for what it is. It's a really fun beat 'em up, and I can't recommend it enough if you can find a copy of it out there to play Shaolin Monks, especially in co-op. Couch co-op with Shaolin Monks is a great fucking time. Right, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Now, this is the next Everybody's Here. But I've got so it's cool that they put all the fighters in here. It's really cool because the roster is impressive. but they really they tried to implement stuff like Create a Fighter, which was broken because you could add infinites really easily, and yeah, introduced things like Create a Fatality, which was a big wet fart because then you're taking away most of everyone's individuality and the house, like, because everyone loves a good fatality, you know. Now suddenly everyone's got the same fatalities, even boss characters. What else have you got? So because everyone had in Mortal Kombat Deception had like weapon styles and Deadly Alliance had like multiple styles, you suddenly cut them in half and you're sharing out, because the roster's that big, you're suddenly cannibalizing movesets and cutting things in half, and it's just it's fine. Mortal Kombat Armageddon is probably the worst in my opinion of the 3D ones. It's got Mortal Kombat Kart, which is surprisingly fun, which might push it out of the kind of stinky tier and into its fine tier. The Conquest mode is surprisingly fun, like a 3D beat 'em up, and then Deception's like your adventure game, where this one's more like a 3D beat 'em up, which is fine. Okay, I'm making Armageddon sound better than it is. It's got a really good opening, so I think that keeps it. Oh god, right, so I'm between kind of stinky and it's fine. I'm going to put it at it's fine, because I'll piss people off if I put it in kind of stinky. I'm really sorry, boys. I'm really sorry, because I know some people really enjoy Armageddon. It's not my favourite. And bear in mind, this is like opinions and arseholes, boys. Everyone's got one. Nobody wants to hear about anyone else's, yeah? But it's just a case of, like, I wasn't super into Armageddon. I liked the Kart Racer mode, I liked the Conquest mode, and it was kind of cool seeing these characters again in 3D. Right. Then we go into a bit of a dark age for Mortal Kombat, because there really isn't a Mortal Kombat game for a while apart from Mortal Kombat versus DC. Now, I bought this when it came out because your old dad here is a massive comic book fan. But this game just was it. This game's janky as fuck. Like, the combat's a bit off, the character models looked a bit, even at the time, looked a bit off. And it had a lot of cool ideas, like it had transitional, like you can do stage transitions, and it had stuff like a sort of rock, paper, scissors type game where if you're falling, who was on the bottom and they'd be the one to take the damage at the end, or you'd do one where you're like, you punch someone through a wall and then you ram them through it. The story mode was interesting. I liked how they tried to introduce a story mode. It was nonsense, but it was kind of cool, you know, that they introduced that, and that was before Mortal Kombat 11 or not Mortal Kombat 9 really perfected the story mode. But overall, this Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe in this kind of stinky tier. Actually, would I prefer to play Mortal Kombat versus DC over Mortal Kombat Armageddon? Oh, that's Armageddon's got more interesting stuff in it with the kart racer and shit like that. Anyways, then Mortal Kombat goes into hibernation for a little bit and comes back swinging with, well, Mortal Kombat, which is Mortal Kombat 9 or Mortal Kombat 2011 it's known as, and this is the one that came out. Tag modes, massive story mode, and it's honestly the one I got into competitively with my Jade. I know Jade's considered the worst character in the game, but fuck me, I adored that game. I had a big power mode that had plenty of content to it, and I was addicted to playing the tag matches with my friends. So Mortal Kombat 11, no, I keep saying 11 because I think 2011, and then I think Mortal Kombat 11, which is a different game. But Mortal Kombat 9 has got to go in the, I'd say, Grand Champion tier. Oh, what is it, top of toasty? I'll say Grand Champion for now. Things can move up and down, but I fucking love Mortal Kombat 2011. The story mode was, for a time, revolutionary, and now I think that's the reason that every fucking fighting game has a story mode, and I fucking adore this game. Always find it funny how you'd have like these big brawls to death, and then suddenly everyone would be like fighting afterwards. But that's the thing with fighting games, you know, like especially Mortal Kombat when you're hitting the X-rays and you like snap people's necks and they're fighting in story mode. Anyways, they followed that up, Mortal Kombat 11, with Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat XL as it says here. Now, Mortal Kombat XL is. This is my favourite Mortal Kombat game, boys. I think the new characters introduced were fucking great, like Cassie Cage. I love the roster they went with. I love the variation gimmick. I thought that was really interesting, and a shame that they've taken it away. I love the story mode when it was like a kind of a I don't know what's it, but it was like the alternate universe version of Mortal Kombat 4. I just love this game. I think this had the perfect amount of like, this was the best competitive Mortal Kombat in my opinion. And it's got to be in the Grand Champion tier. I fucking adore Mortal Kombat 10. I think it's the bee's knees, and not only one of the best fighters, no, the best Mortal Kombat game, I think it's one of the best fighters from that generation. I think it could easily go toe-to-toe with your Street Fighter, well, Street Fighter 5, of course, you know. It could go toe-to-toe with your Tekken 7s, and I say that completely sincerely. I think this game was phenomenal, and I just can't say enough good things about it. Then we come to Mortal Kombat 11, which was... This is the story mode that introduced the big fucking time travel and shit like that. I had Kronika, I want to say, as the bad guy. This one, I have a bit like, this one is good. I'm not saying anything bad about this, but this is where I don't know, it's not as good. It's still in the toasty tier. I think the roster's really good with new characters, the interest in like Ken coming back. And I love when they have weird characters like Collector, or like in Mortal Kombat 10 they had like what's his name, Imperator. I love Mortal Kombat's always got weird characters that they just push in there and try and go like, here, let's make him a mainstay. But anyway, Mortal Kombat 11, where are we putting this? I'll probably put it... I still really got into Mortal Kombat 11. I still played Towers addictively. It's good. It's a really good game, but it's just not quite up there with Mortal Kombat 11 in my opinion. Not Mortal Kombat 10, sorry. I've got Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 2011, and Mortal Kombat XL, and I'm dyslexic, so XL looks like X1, so it looks like 11. So your old dad's having that awful time here. But anyway, Mortal Kombat 11, time travel one, is not as good as Mortal Kombat XL, but it's still a very good game, or Mortal Kombat X, because they renamed it after they put in all DLC as Mortal Kombat XL as opposed to Mortal Kombat 10, which that's not confusing in the slightest. But I think the DLC in Mortal Kombat, I should mention, so Mortal Kombat Complete Edition had, or Mortal Kombat 2010 had, pretty good DLC with like Scarlet, Kenshi, and I want to say Freddy Krueger, and then they went off the rails, they went mental in Mortal Kombat 11. Basically had 50-50 guests to original characters. They had like Tanya, what's his name, Tremor, Triborg. I thought Triborg was really cool in Mortal Kombat 10, and then they introduced things like Alien, Jason, Leatherface, Predator, which taught me they played really well. And then 11 they had, you know, the Joker, they had Terminator. I fucking love the Terminator in that game, that was really fun. But anyway, they Spawn, they went a bit mental with the crossovers. And then we have the most recent one, Mortal Kombat 1. Now, Mortal Kombat 1 is a good game. The fighting is good in it. But I feel the roster has really affected the game, because I don't know, the roster's just not got it. Now, I have not bought Chaos Range yet because I'm waiting for, you know, after they bring out the complete edition, they have like a price drop and they go like, you can buy Mortal Kombat and Chaos Range for cheaper. Because I've got Mortal Kombat 1 sitting there, and I played it for a little bit and I was like, this fighting's fine. It's not quite got the same amount of single player content. It's got a story there, but I just wasn't wanting to dig into the story. And I don't know, the roster's really affected it for me. I don't know, it's something that Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat 2011, Mortal Kombat XL, and Mortal Kombat 11 had, that Mortal Kombat 1 just doesn't have. And I might be wrong here. This might be fixed in Chaos Reigns. I don't know, it just didn't, something about it just didn't click for me. I'll get back to it eventually, but I've got to put Mortal Kombat, I'll put it in toasty because it is a good game. The fighting is good in it. It's just not as fast and fluid as, you know, 10, or not even as kind of interesting as 11 when it comes to. I think a lot of the characters kind of blend in with each other, which is funny in a game that series that's famous for, you know, multicolored ninjas and shit like that. But it's just Mortal Kombat 1. I'm sure it will get better. But like, so let's see, Mortal Kombat 1. I don't think I'll put that above 2. Trilogy, 11, Shaolin Monks. Right, I think that looks good to me, in my opinion. Right, so now we'll go through the entire. So in the worst and best tier, we have at the very bottom we have Mortal Kombat Special Forces, followed up by Mortal Kombat 4. In the kind of stinky tier, we have Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero, we have Mortal Kombat Gold, we have Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, we have Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe. And It's Fine, we have Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat, the original one, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Ultimate Mortal Kombat. We have in Toasty, we have Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, both versions. We have Mortal Kombat 11, we have Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, and then the Grand Champion tier, we have Mortal Kombat Complete Edition, we have Mortal Kombat Deception, and then finally we have the Grand Champion, in my opinion, the best Mortal Kombat game in Mortal Kombat 10. So cheers for joining us, boysies, and take care of yourself. See yous!